So whilst wrestling fans gush about the arrival of the Mad King in Jacksonville, and rightly so, hashtag sign Eddie Kingston, there was a prince on the rise at Full Sail University. Brace yourself for the clap of thunder from down under. This is NXT Graded. We open with a Keith Lee bombshell. Big Keithy 2 belts is going to be Big Keithy 1 belt now. He's forfeiting the North American Championship because he wants more opportunity for people within NXT. What a guy. What a guy. What a guy. So William Regal announces that we are going to be having a series of triple threat matches to determine challengers for the North American Championship at NXT TakeOver 30. And it will be a ladder match to determine the new champion. Qualifiers start later on tonight with Roderick Strong versus Johnny Gargano versus Bronson Reed. I like the concept. First match of the night, it's Dexter Lumis versus Killian Dain. Killian Dain took umbrage with Dexter Lumis's drawing of him just the other week, and that's why this is a thing. Big shout to Killian Dain, who has trimmed down quite a bit since his debut in NXT, and you can see there's a bit more pep in his step for it as well. This becomes a brawl outside the ring very quickly, where Killian Dain wipes out Lumis with that body press, hits him as well with a lovely guillotine leg drop whilst he's draped on the ropes, getting back in. That was cool. Lumis here just continues to hit these really fun little sequences, like there was the backdrop into a kip up into a leg drop which got a near fall. Lumis works over Killian Dain, hits that Uranagi and is going for the silence, but Killian fights out of it. In doing so, completely no-sells the Uranagi, ends up going up top for what looks like it's going to be a superplex. Lumis manages to escape, follows it up with a swanton bomb, then gets the Uranagi, then gets the silence, and Dain doesn't tap out, he passes out, and that's that. C+, this wasn't a bad match, wasn't a great match. I think both guys have had better. Couple of points in this where didn't really feel like it flowed particularly well, but it was still good fun. Killian Dain, I think he's on the back burner at the moment, it feels like. And they're just sort of keeping him in the mix, but there's not much for him. Lumis continues to push on. Not sure what the trajectory is going to be of Dexter Lumis at this point in time. We'll find out. Back in the ring, Everrise are facing Breezango, and to celebrate, the Quebec lads facing off against Tyler Breeze and Fandango. They've done an entrance just for them. They come out dressed as the Quebecers, complete with the classic I'm the Mountie theme song. Fun fact about the I'm the Mountie theme song, right? The Mounties didn't like it because the Mountie was a bad guy. So when the Quebecers came in to do the two Mounties thing, they said, we don't want that music. It's to, you know, you make us sound like we're bad guys. So therefore, Vince McMahon, in one of his classic petulant moments, changed the theme music from I'm the Mountie to we're not the Mounties. Just passive aggressive. I love it. But we had the I'm the Mountie theme tune. They came out dressed in Quebecer attire. This was nice. Everrise were intense here, but this was just a showcase for Breezango, to be honest with you. Fandango hit the Mountie dive at one point, where he puts the Mountie's hat on, does a salute and falls off the top rope. I don't remember the Mountie doing that, and I like to think of myself as a wrestling historian, but that's by the by. Stereo supermodel kicks, puts away Everrise, and Breezango get the win. C+, fine, good match. Enjoyed the entrance immensely. It's sort of, if you listen to the Cultaholic Classic Raw review, you'll know that the Quebecers are a team very close to our hearts. And is that the second PCO reference in 2 weeks? I think it might be. Aliyah alongside Robert Stone with a moon boot for his broken foot in action against Big Tank Energy, Shotzi Blackheart. During this match, we see Aliyah actually busting out some really big moves here. She's getting better every single week. I'm enjoying the progress of Aliyah, and she dominates a big part of this, but once Shotzi gets a look in, pretty much the end of it from there. She just starts wiping out Aliyah with a series of strikes. Robert Stone gets onto the apron. He gets knocked off with a big kick. Shortly after this, we see the senton from Shotzi Blackheart for the 1, 2, 3. After the match, she runs over Robert Stone's other foot with her tank. Much comedy. The comedy ends when she is met with a boot on the foot, attached to the leg, attached to the body of Mercedes Martinez. Shotzi Blackheart wiped out of her tank by Mercedes Martinez here. Later on in the night, we find out that Mercedes Martinez has signed with the Robert Stone brand, and that is a nice fit. This is another C+ here. Again, not a bad match, not a great match. The story stuff around it was all right as well. Robert Stone is always good fun in there. Aliyah continues to improve. Shotzi's got a really unique style to her. She started doing this welcome to the ball pit line again. This is something she used on the indies a while ago, and I'm going to let it breathe before I make a full judgment on that. Also, WWE have announced a partnership with World of Tanks, the game, and not involved Shotzi Blackheart at all. That's just leaving money on the table. We get a nice piece on Isaiah Swerve Scott here. He's in the studio recording some music, talking about how recording songs is similar to wrestling. He also references how losing to Johnny Gargano helped make him a better wrestler, and I love that attention to detail. How that match, even in loss, Swerve has managed to incorporate it into what he's doing next, where he said, "That loss taught me a lot, and Santos Escobar, you're the Cruiserweight champion. I'm the only guy that's beaten you. Next time we face, I'll be the new Cruiserweight champion." Really like this. Swerve Scott versus Santos Escobar down the road. That's cool. We now get our triple threat match, the winner going on to TakeOver 30 to compete for the North American Championship. It's Johnny Gargano versus Bronson Reed versus Roderick Strong. So Gargano and Strong not on the same page. We figured that out earlier on when they were doing a backstage promo, and whilst they try and overwhelm Bronson Reed, Bronson just sends them packing every single time. The story is Reed overpowering while Strong and Gargano bicker. Reed goes for a dive outside the ring and gets a running knee from Roderick Strong. That's the first time that either Strong or Gargano have got even an inkling of a chance in this match. There's a couple of great spots where everybody works so beautifully together. There's a bit that made me cringe though, on the bit where Gargano goes for a sunset flip bomb to the outside on Reed, but Reed ain't moving, he's holding on to the ropes. Roddy comes along and hits a knee to the face of Bronson Reed, and Reed hits the ground with a splat. I swear he bounces as he hits the ground. It was, made me wince quite a bit. Bronson Reed, are you dead? Strong and Gargano have a brief but passionate exchange before Bronson Reed returns and just starts clobbering them again. He uranagis Roderick Strong into Johnny Gargano at one point, which was fun. They do a bit, and this possibly is one of my favourite spots of this match, where Bronson Reed puts Johnny Gargano on his shoulders. Strong is going up. We're thinking Doomsday Device. Hello, Doomsday Device. But as Strong comes off the rope, Gargano turns it into a poison Hurricane Rana. So Strong just hits nothing. And as Gargano gets back to his feet, Strong has already swooped back round and hit a big running knee to the face of Gargano. Mwah. Mwah, chef's kisses, mwah. Following that, Reed takes a beast of a bump. Gargano goes to give him a sunset flip bomb to the outside of the ring, but Reed just ain't moving. And Roderick Strong comes along, big knee to the face of Bronson, and Bronson just hits the ground with a splat. I swear he bounced. It looked horrible. Are you okay, Bronson? A fast-paced exchange between Gargano and Strong follows. Every time that Bronson gets taken out, we see a little flicker of greatness from Strong and Gargano throughout this match, and certainly whets the appetite to see these two go at it again. The end comes when Gargano hits one final beat on Roderick Strong, but just as he rolls over to make the cover, he puts a hand over Strong to make the cover. Here's Bronson Reed back once again with the ill behavior. Monster splash off the top rope, crushes the hand of Gargano, but gets the 3 count on Roderick Strong. And Bronson Reed is going to his first takeover. He is competing in the ladder match for the North American Championship. This was was a clear A. This was excellent work from all three. Roddy, Gargano, and Reed all just had this beautiful chemistry together, and this is how you make a star. Bronson Reed, who I've said a couple of times over the last few weeks, is one of those guys that seems to be kind of low-key on the bubble within NXT. This very much puts him front and centre with a win over Roderick Strong and Johnny Gargano, and it was done in such a great way. Bronson Reed looks solid here. All three worked their bottoms off. This was an excellent match. Big love. We follow this with a real palate cleanser, a rematch from the Great American Bash, pitting Oney Lorcan against Timothy Thatcher. More World of Sport style Tekker's greatness from these guys. Just mat wrestling of the finest order. And I enjoyed how we had that fast-paced match between Reed, Strong and Gargano just now. And we're moving on to some solid ground wrestling. It's cool. Lorcan takes control of this match after a long while with some heavy strikes. They fall to the outside of the ring and Thatcher gets thrown into the ring post arm first, and we see Lorcan sort of focus on that arm for quite a lot of the offense going forward. It continues to be ground based once they get back in the ring. Oney Lorcan starts to wear down Thatcher with some of his own holds. He puts in that single crab that I know Lorcan's been using quite a bit, and the Fujiwara armbar, both moves that Thatcher has been showcasing in the Thatcher's Thatchcan Academy. So that's a nice little storyline bit they've dropped in there. The finish comes though when Timothy Thatcher just seems to out-wrestle Lorcan. As Lorcan is going for an arm lock, we see Thatcher sweep the leg and get a pin combination and get the three. It's only when we watch it back that we see, well, actually, Thatcher, you sly little so-and-so, and a big old handful of tights as well. So didn't beat Lorcan fair and square as it turned out. So they're gonna do this thing again. You know what? I hope they do have another match because this was an A- to me. This was an excellent wrestling showcase once more. And in my opinion, if I'm being uber critical, it was the tiniest fraction back on their Great American Bash match, but tiniest. But with this one, you've got a little bit more gravitas to do this again. Do you know what I'd love to see? See what I'd love to see? I'd love to see a rounds match between these two. They did it at NXT UK with Cassius Ohno and Sid Scala a while back. I'd love to see a rounds match with Thatcher and Lorcan. And especially when shot in NXT with, you know, directed by the WWE guys. It'd be like Michael Bay directing World of Sport. I'd quite like to see it. Finn Balor sends a warning to Dexter, Lumis and Timothy Thatcher, saying that their push is about to hit the ceiling and the North American Championship is going to get the Finn rub. That's right, next week it is Dexter Lumis versus Timothy Thatcher versus Finn Balor in a qualifier for the North American Championship ladder match. This is going to be either a hodgepodge, a hot mess, or an instant classic. It can only be one of those three. Main event o'clock, and it's Dominik Dijakovic seeking Rwenge after that assault last week over Karrion Kross. This match starts like two bulls, big grapples to start off with. We see Kross finally starting to wear down Dijakovic with a headlock. Then we see both guys going for their finishes. We see Feast Your Eyes attempted, but Kross fights out of it. We see the Doomsday Saito attempted. Dijakovic gets away, gives him a big old kick, and the match falls outside the ring. It's quite an even bout until this point. It very much feels like the ad break gets in the way of this main event. We see Kross land a spike DDT, and then we get a picture-in-picture ad break. And you just see wear down holds in the ring. And this is where, and I know this is quite a common thing with NXT, it's a way of sort of stopping people from tuning out, but nothing really happens during the picture-in-picture. They don't do anything. So you just got Kross and Dijakovic almost just wearing each other down, just sort of waiting for the cameras to come back on proper, because the moment the ad break finishes, whoa, there's Kross busting out a Doomsday Saito. There's Dijakovic hitting the big old sit-down chokeslam and near fall. Kross shakes off the chokeslam, they fight outside of the ring, and then we see Dijakovic get knocked to the floor, and his head lands between like the ring post and the steel step. Sort of just, we can't see Dom's head, it's sort of under the ring apron, and Kross takes a couple of steps back and just boots the steel steps, and consequently almost knocks Dijakovic out cold. It's a really simple, really quite gruesome spot, and it's from here where the match, which had kind of sort of stalled a little bit, starts to really, really ramp up because the referee is telling Kross to get back into the ring. Kross gets in, then comes back out again, then just picks up the lifeless body of Dijakovic and throws him in. Then just slowly crawls on top of him, holds Dom's arm so he can't defend himself, and just starts wailing on him with elbows. Just wailing, just not loads, but just like a couple of big ones. This brings out Keith Lee. Keith Lee makes his way out to ringside, and he looks like he's going to get into the ring to save his mate, and there's Dijakovic, who is barely conscious, who sort of crawls over and goes, no, Keith, this is on me, And he gets pulled back into the ring, and Keith Lee has to watch as Kross just, boom, bare his elbows into the face of Dijakovic. And Keith wants to get in the match, and Dom's telling him to stay out. Eventually, Kross sort of catches a glimpse of this, pulls up Dijakovic, and just holds him in front of Keith Lee, and just wipes him out with the Kross jacket, just wraps it around him. Stares at Keith Lee, and Keith Lee just has to watch as the life leaves Dijakovic's eyes. As soon as the bell sounds, Dom doesn't tap out, he passes out. As soon as the bell sounds, Keith hits the ring, and Kross is away from there. And this is where we are going for the NXT Championship, it seems. I'm going to give this an A-, right? I struggled with grading this because I thought that, as I said, like the picture-in-picture ad break thing kind of spoiled the momentum a little bit for this match. But the end sequence was so good, so evil, so rocky. I really enjoyed the story that was told at the end of this, and that's bumped the grade up massively for me. I don't know how good that Keith Lee and Karrion Kross will do in a one-on-one match, but I'm liking the build. NXT this week averages out to be a B. It was very much a show of two halves. The first half was very lukewarm by NXT's pretty lofty standards, but the final part of the show really started to swing up. That triple threat was stunning. Great wrestling match from Lorcan and Thatcher. And then whilst the main event wasn't the best of those three, it would probably be the third best out of those three. The sequence at the very end is just great storytelling, very simple storytelling in wrestling, and I was a fan. For me, the star of the week was Bronson Reed, without a doubt. Thunder from Down Under, well and truly brought in a triple threat match featuring two high quality performers. Best match of the night for me by far. Excellent work by Bronson and all involved. Next week, the triple threat is Finn Balor, Dexter Lumis and Timothy Thatcher. As I said, either a hodgepodge, a hot mess, or an instant classic. I can't wait to find out. Stay safe. Love you, bye.